Bam.
9 to noon.
Here comes beloved Ben Leber, beloved Nacho, at Nacho Leber via the tweet machine, at Nacho Leber, and Twin Cities Live on the TV, 3 to 4:30. 3 to 4:30 on Channel 5 each and every weekday, and that would include today. And Ben joins us now. This Ben and I were together for an hour and change for me, maybe the whole thing for him yesterday at Vikings minicamp day 2. And a fair amount of our conversation surrounded this, the new kickoff setup. And it's really beginning to fascinate me because I'm starting to chat with more people about it. And what fascinates me is the confusion that whether it's here, there, or everywhere, that everybody has until they start doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you saw it set up yesterday, the new kickoff set up, and Brandon Powell squirted through the coverage or whatever. Maybe it was by design. But Powell back there returning some yesterday. Do you think Kene Nwanwu is the right style of player to have back there? And good morning.
Well, it is interesting. This is a question that's directed at me, but I want this to be a full flowing conversation because I think that when you and I were talking, you brought up some very good points about just his style and what we were talking about,
like Cordero.
Yeah, in reference to Cordero because he's regarded as one of the best and all this other stuff. But this new rule,
I was spitballing and Nacho signed off on it. Who knew?
Well, it is interesting because we don't know. There's so much that we don't know. You can watch the XFL or UFL, whatever you want to call it, and you can maybe draw some assimilation to how those players and staffs figured out how to return and to cover those kicks. But
that question Ziggy asked us yesterday, I forgot to look up how many touchdowns there were on kickoffs in the XFL last year. I'm going to get it right now.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. But you brought up a really good point because of this landing zone area and because of where the blockers are engaging everybody, that should teams be looking for guys that have a little bit more quick twitch, a little bit more short area quickness, more like a punt returner versus a kickoff returner that traditionally would maybe catch the ball in the back of the end zone and have a 20 to 25 yard run up before they have to make any sort of cut or any sort of breaking of tackles. And I don't know. I just thought it was a really good conversation because you
loved it.
You brought up a good point that maybe a guy like Kene is one that, like Cordero, takes a bit longer to get going up to speed, even though his top end of speed is elite.
Yeah, and his vision too. But are teams, even the Vikings, going to be looking for guys that are more like punt returners that can catch a little more cat-like quickness? Maybe not have to look for top-end speed, but more just your 5-10-5 area that have to be sort of electric. So I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how each team attacks this. It definitely was league-changing last year for the 2023 XFL team scoring stats, all right? So there were, I'm not going to add this up, man, 37, 30, so we got 71, we got 101, we got 130. Let's go 159. So we're right around 180 to 200 kick returns from the DC Defenders all the way down to the Arlington Renegades. And there was one kick return touchdown. There was just one.
Just one.
Wait, I mean, I thought that there would be a lot more, didn't you? I mean, it's like you're making this change for, quote, safety, end quote, but also to maybe enhance the scoring. At least that's what I thought they were doing it for.
Well, I think
one kick return touchdown XFL.
I think it makes that kickoff relevant again.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
I'm actually surprised by that. Only one kickoff.
I'm blown away.
Does it have the actual return average though?
I don't know.
That's got to be significantly higher than what it was in the NFL the last couple of years.
Can you go to XFL Football Focus?
XFL
and find out what part of the field that's most.
You have the spray charts.
Yeah.
Can you?
Hey, but we don't want the Wednesday night TV copy analysis. We want after they actually look at the all 24 because I think it's 12 on 12. Just kidding. But it is just one kick return here. Now Kwesi has crafted quite the youthful squad. And especially on defense. What do you think of all that?
Well, I think that we've gotten younger, we've gotten leaner. I think we've gotten meaner.
Yeah, meaner. How do we get meaner?
I don't know. Just sounded good.
It's like you gave the verbal version of the tweet you sent yesterday. Everybody looks like all pros. Defense sucks because offense always scores touchdowns. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting. Like if I tell somebody, if I had ran into somebody yesterday and they're like, hey, where are you doing? I'm like, I checked out Vikings minicamp. Like, how did everybody look?
Right.
What's our team look like?
Yeah, I get whether it's Paddock at Canterbury Park, supermarket, or whatever. I get the same questions basically every time.
Right.
Like when you're in public, if I were to say this offseason, if you had to hone in on a single question that you get the majority of the time about the Vikings, what would it be?
How does McCarthy look?
How's McCarthy look?
Tell
me about JJ.
Yeah, tell me that. How's he look out there?
Nolan Ryan without a changeup.
Yeah,
How can we fix that?
I don't know. His arm looks live. It looks super flexible. I don't know. He's got a nice whip to it. He looks the part.
My new bit, because the guy was going to put it on Twitter, but then he didn't, was, Bursic played a long time in this league. And I like what Pete said about McCarthy right after we drafted him. Next Joe Burrow.
I always love that one.
Well, my man was going to go put it on Twitter, and he didn't. I was going to retweet the hell out of that thing.
Look, I know that there are some beat writers out there, not trying to disparage all the beat writers out there that cover the Vikings in the offseason, but you can't, if you're going to put something out there about like watching practice and the things that you see and all this other stuff, and like really try to break it down and like try to convince the public that this guy's going to be this and this guy shined and this guy did, like, I just hate to pour some cold water on it. Like, I've watched the game a long time, and going out to those practices, I love it because I get to talk to. I was talking to Brett Bielema yesterday.
That's the bit.
It's just fun to like reconnect with everyone. But as far as the actual football playing that's being done out there, everybody looks good.
Yeah,
everybody looks great.
But see, we were chatting with the owner the first 20 minutes or 15 so that's the time. Because
that's the best part of being out there.
That's the rotation time where they hurry, before other people come in, and it'd be like Darisaw, Brandell, Bradbury, Ingram, O'Neal, and I didn't see this, but then quickly, next one, let's say Rouse, Reisner, Juergens, so and so, so you can kind of get a feel for the 1, 2, 3.
Well, don't get me wrong. Like, performance-wise, I think that's very difficult to say to go out there and say, like, oh, this guy looked amazing and he's going to do this and, like, start projecting how this season this guy's going to have. Now, if you want to look at lineups, okay, this is our starting 5 on the offensive line. Oh, that's very interesting. They've got this guy as a number 2. And, they've got Brandon Powell back there on kickoffs. That's really interesting. Like, yes, there's that part of the construction of the roster. But when everybody's out there in shorts and just helmets, I've seen so many guys that even as a player and as a teammate, you're like, dude, this guy's going to have a breakout season. Like this young rookie or this second-year guy, like they are looking phenomenal. Yeah. And then you put the pads on, and it's like, oh, what happened to the player that we saw all of offseason? Like, where did that guy go? Right. Because putting the pads on changes your mentality. It brings a level of fearfulness to your game, and the guys that can rise above that, those are the guys that can they succeed. The other guys just look good in shorts and helmets.
So like Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr., like those guys, okay, they look cool, and they're both ones, and they're running around and doing mini camp / OTA type things. But like Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr. are violent players, so they're downhill violent players. So therefore, I think that would be to your point. At training camp, you get the pads on them. We go to Cleveland for what's going to feel like a week, but it's just half a week. And joint practices against Deshaun Watson and Wyatt Teller. And there's your guy Chicknub, and he gets through on a trap, and bam, you smack him. So that right there gets everything going, right? That's where like Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr., where we really we'll notice just how physical they are, right?
Yeah, I mean, anytime they put the uppers on, they don't have to have the leg pads in, especially for defensive players. I mean, most defensive players would choose not to wear any leg pads to begin with. Yeah. So as long as you have helmet and shoulder pads on, and you're running somewhat of a simulated like game-like practice, you absolutely that's where you see guys flash. That's where you see the real player. I'm like, wow. I mean, we're going to see that. We're going to see that from day one of training camp when they have pads on.
Yeah.
All the way to when you guys go to when they go to Cleveland.
No, not us guys. You're coming. TCL, yeah, we gotta be there, Benjamin.
Yeah, we'll see if I can work it out.
Some of it.
Yeah,
well, we got a game there too, so you'll be there.
Well, I got a game there too, so maybe I'll get out there the day before.
So let me get this straight. You just show up for the TV game, but the grunt work of 9 to noon, which will be 10 to 1 just for fun.
I mean, if there's a camera there at practice that I'll be in front of, then yeah, you can entice me.
I'd love to have you out there. But you loved the Vikings-Niners joint practice.
Oh, loved it.
I mean,
because it's the most competitive atmosphere that they can have. Like it's controlled chaos without having all the pomp and circumstance of a preseason game.
Well, I'm going to get you excited right now. I mean, you know this, but you're thinking about 8 million things, and maybe it hasn't hit you this way. It's summer, so you got a million things to do and think about in TCL. Yeah, 3 to 4:30, Channel 5 today. Stefanski, okay, Kevin Stefanski. Bill Musgrave, okay, run game coordinator. So good. He's going to put some traps on you, okay, and you pick those out. I don't know what they look. I know what they look like after I see it. You know what they look like when they're coming. So here comes Chick Nub on some traps, okay, because Musgrave is their run game coordinator, and their run game is good. Remember old Chad O'Shea?
Yeah.
Chad O'Shea's on that staff.
Yep.
Was with Flores in Miami. Maybe it was a great relationship. Maybe it wasn't.
Probably a little bit in New England too, right?
Yes, right. In fact, when Flores got the job, I think he made O'Shea the offensive coordinator.
Did he pull O'Shea from New England? Yeah.
Yeah, so he got O'Shea. Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks is there. Old Zadarius Smith, I think, still there. So, yeah, I mean, it's a reunion, man. You have to be there for all 19 days. It feels like we're going to be there.
Well, I will definitely try to get out there.
Kevin Rogers.
A couple days. Oh, K-Rod.
K-Rod is still in the mix. He
is?
Yeah, he's not
like a consultant or an analyst or something?
Well, he's not like what Sleepy Dom was a few years ago for Zim, where I looked out 2 booths over at Ford Field. During the game, I swear he was sleeping. I swear he fell asleep in the third quarter in a game we were winning, and it was close. Maybe not. Maybe he was just resting his eyes. But, yeah, Sleepy Dom is reemerged somewhere, but not Cleveland. But, yeah, Kevin Rogers, man, you guys were super close.
Oh, I love him. He's the best. So the thing that I'm really excited about for the practices in Cleveland, even though it's not going to count, it's a real game, but their style of play is so exciting to me from a defensive standpoint.
Yes.
Because of everything you talk about. There's going to be trap plays.
You were right. Senior assistant special projects, Kevin Rogers.
Okay. They're going to be downhill run game. There's going to be a level of physicality that you need to be tested with this defense. You've got a mobile quarterback, with a really live arm as well. And they've got some studs on defense as well. I mean, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Running backs coach Deuce Staley.
Deuce.
Kevin hired Deuce.
Yeah.
I mean, when Kevin hires a running backs coach, they have to be like football or cool immortality. Okay, Deuce Staley was cool, and he was really cool on Hard Knocks when he was with the Lions, him and Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator. I thought that was cool for the Lions. And previous to that, it was Livonia Stump Mitchell. He had Stump Mitchell as his running backs coach. Stump had that Rip Van Winkle white beard that went down to the middle of his sternum.
That's right.
He barely could walk for whatever the reason, yet he just kept Stump along for the ride, man. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's speaking of not being able to walk. Speaking of not being able to walk, K-Raj, he and I would always give him such a hard time because when he was with the Vikes, he had a low back problem, he had a spine problem, and so we just clowned him all the time because he just hobbled around.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
My man's suffering through a debilitating injury and killing him.
I mean, we killed him for it, and he laughed about it because he's like, you watch out, you little SOBs, all you guys playing this sport, you're going to have neck and back problems too. And lo and behold, my low back's all messed up, my neck is messed up. Oh, yeah.
Because of years of football?
Yeah, I mean, I will eventually be K-Raj.
Yeah, I think you feel fine, and you're setting up a lawsuit here. Defense for Stefanski with this joint coming up mid-August, whenever it is. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Lo and behold, we didn't know that not only is Jeff Anderson the head of media relations for the Minnesota Vikings, but he's also defensive quality control for the Cleveland Browns.
I always love that one.
Jeff Anderson. Ephraim Banda. Nope. Jacques Césaire.
Oh, Jacques there? Jacques was my teammate in San
You
Diego.
have to go now for every day.
Jacques there?
And co-host the show with me, Biatch.
Yeah.
Please. Okay.
Jacques Césaire is the best.
Jacques Césaire.
Yeah, defensive lineman.
How do you know him?
We were teammates in San Diego.
Oh, San Diego? All right. That, what was that? That was 95, 96, something like that. Brandon Lynch, Jordan Thomas, Jason Tarver. Ooh, assistant head coach, special teams coordinator, Bubba Ventrone. Is it Bubba Ventrone or Ventroni or something? Stephen Bravo. This is cool, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. Ben Leber is our guest, 9 to noon. Minnesota Vikings' third day of a minicamp comes to a conclusion today. And then the constituents chill for, this is a long off time. For KOC, I can't remember how he crafted it for veterans. Like there was an optional, maybe next week's the optional, but it's coming. It'll be close to 2 months that they're going to be away. It's like 7 weeks or something like that.
So they do have their last 3 OTAs next week, right? But you're saying that might be like more.
Okay. Well, why isn't minicamp the end? Minicamp was always the end.
They kind of stopped doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
They didn't do that. This thing's messing me up then. All right, so they're going to have about 6 weeks, which is pretty cool. When he's up to speed, Andrew Van Ginkel, when he's up to speed, what are they getting in that linebacker?
I think they're getting a very versatile player that can. That he's shown the ability to play off the ball a little bit, even though he's going to be more of the on the line of scrimmage type of linebacker. I think you're just going to see a ball of energy. I mean, I think that his get off and the way that he plays sort of violently with his body, I think is going to be very apparent. And you pair that up with Grenard and Dallas Turner. I mean, I think that we're going to create so many one-on-ones. You have to respect Van Ginkel's tenacity, what he can do coming off the edge, the agility to actually be used on stunts and twists back to the inside. And you marry that up with the other guys that I mentioned, plus if we get some pass rushing help on the inside, dude, it's going to be really hard to look at this front 4 or 5 in a passing situation and say, oh, okay, we're going to double team this guy and we're going to slide and put the running back on this guy. You're going to find one-on-ones everywhere. And if we can consistently beat tight ends, tackles in those one-on-one situations, dude, this is going to be a really formidable defense. And on top of that, maybe we don't have to blitz as much from Pace and from Metellus and sacrificing because some of those, what we call fire zone coverages where you have 3 under 3 deep, you can't cover everything. And it makes it really difficult if you don't get to the quarterback and affect the throw early on. There are just natural voids in the defense. And so if you don't have to have those fire zones all the time, then we're going to be eating a lot on defense. We're going to be getting to the quarterback, hopefully getting a lot more interceptions because more bodies in coverage, more tipped balls, more inaccurate passes, and so hopefully more turnovers as a result. Can
you simplistically lay out what this means? Okay, so like when they signed Andrew Van Ginkel, I think it was Patton, but somebody told me, well, he can, as you guys just start conversations like this, and I should know the nuance and intricate nature of it, and I guess I don't. But they'll say something and then they'll move on to something else like everybody knows what it is. And here's what it is. Well, he plays on and off the ball. Mm-hmm. Okay, so on and off the ball. On the ball, close to the line of scrimmage, I would imagine. Okay, can you simplistically explain that?
Yeah, I'll try to. I mean, it's as simple as when they say on the ball, you are on the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't have to have your hand on the ground, but you can stand up in a 2-point stance, very much like a typical 3-4 outside linebacker look, 2-point sprinter track stance.
Okay.
That's an on-the-ball linebacker. Anytime that you go off the ball and you are usually within the run box, so you are behind the defensive lineman and you are 4 or 5 yards off the ball in a traditional, like what Chad and EJ and I were, that's an off-the-ball linebacker. And so your roles are different, your responsibilities are different, your keys and where your eyes are different. If you're it's
2 jobs.
It's 2 different jobs, 2 different responsibilities and different skill sets. Usually on the ball linebackers are bigger, They are the hybrid defensive ends that are more athletic, that can drop in coverage. And traditionally in a 3-4 defense, you need these outside linebackers that are on-the-ball linebackers to have a better understanding of coverages and drops than maybe just a defensive end would have. And you have to have the ability to rush. So you've got to be a pass rusher and hone all those skills. And you have to know that, okay, if it's a situation where I'm dropping, now I have to understand all the things that a typical linebacker has to understand. Splits of wide receivers, the number of wide receivers, the game situation, the down and distance, all that other stuff, the possible route combinations you could have. Hey, is there a safety coming down to help me out here? Is there a linebacker helping me out? Do I start on an inside leverage and ultimately end up on an outside leverage? Like, you have to understand all that stuff. So it makes you a more valuable player if a guy like Van Ginkel can play both on and off the line of scrimmage. But keep in mind, even though he's an on-the-ball linebacker, he will be dropping in coverage, much like we saw Danielle Hunter at times drop into coverage, because that's just the nature of this type of defense.
Right. Okay. I'm late to this. All right. Now, I was on Twitter earlier to promote the show.
Yeah.
Then some things popped up and then got Finchy here. So I have not seen the Winter Warrior Minnesota Vikings like whiteout coldest uniforms in the game is what the tweet says until now. Holy cow. These all white uniforms. I mean, like, you got no purple, you got no gold, right? On the sides or anything. I mean, this looks like winter. It looks like an icicle.
It's sweet.
Are they just going to wear these like one game or something like that?
Yeah, I think the Monday night game against the Bears in December is what they said.
Okay. Very nice.
And, it makes sense. I mean, it is going to be winter time. It's going to be a primetime game, and I'm sure it's going to be a whiteout for the fans as well, to wear all white when you go to the game. So, and much like they did for the last type of special game, the field, the
Giants game.
Everything's going to be painted white. That was purple before. So all the purple will be painted white on the field. So that's going to look sweet. I think it's going to look unbelievable.
These white helmets. These are the bomb.
I know. Talk about a seller right there for merchandise.
Wow.
They open that up to the public and you sell those white helmets. Woo! Yeah. That looks real good in someone's office right there in a case.
All right, Brett Blakemore produces. I'm Paul Allen. The final segment with beloved Nachito is next. Sam Darnold is just 26 years old. I don't know why that's weird to me. I thought he was older. And what a big opportunity in front of Sam Darnold, right? I mean, he can turn everything around for him. And why in the past and why I'm going to double down on it now a little bit, like where I'm going to put the onus and a lot of the emphasis on Darnold, because the skill players, the key ones, what they can do. The passing, the coordination of the passing game with O'Connell and offensive coordinator Wes Phillips and Chris O'Hara and now Josh McCown, the quarterback's coach. Well, they know what they're doing too, and we've seen it specifically with 3 of the 4. So with Darnold, I mean, this is an unbelievably good opportunity for him to restart some things. You think he can handle the heat?
Oh boy, I guess I don't know. The answer is I would hope so. Cross my fingers that he can handle the heat.
Yeah.
There's something about his personality that I think he's going to be able to handle. All the responsibilities of becoming, the face of this offense, at least for a short time. I think he's got the right demeanor. I think he's got the right approach. Seems like he's got the right leadership. Now it's just going to come down to, can you limit your mistakes? And that has been, his thing his whole career. He can get the ball down the field. Seems like he's got a really strong arm. And I think he can make all the quote unquote make all the throws. But it just comes down to decision making. I mean, it's if we can see a guy like Nick Mullins in this offense put up 400 plus yards, and he doesn't even have the arm strength that Sam Darnold has, and he can play with sort of that grit and that moxie that he played with, then I think that he can get the ball down the field and this offense can be productive. But what happened with Nick Mullins, as we all know, it's like some of the decisions that he made putting the ball in dangerous spots, it happened too often. And there's too many interceptions, too many bad decisions to go along with all the great things that he did. Throwing for 3 touchdowns, but then 3 interceptions or 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
400 yards, but 3 interceptions or 4 interceptions. And so, look, if we can cut that down to 1 turnover and I'm talking one turnover total.
Yep.
That's protecting the ball when you're getting sacked. That's when you're running around, because he has a lot more a playmaking ability on the outside of the pocket than Kirk ever had. So we also get that dynamic as well. Like, look, man, if he can be empowered to go out there and just tuck the ball and pick up a first down 5 or 6 yards by using his legs, do that, twice a game, that really does a lot to affect the defense. Now, their drops don't get as deep and all this other stuff. You can kind of manipulate their coverage just because you can run and you're versatile and you're elusive. So if he brings the total package and protects the football, there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to handle it.
What makes Justin Jefferson maybe the best receiver in the game? I know it's an overarching question. Like, we always talk about Justin, but we never really, I never really get your opinion on, the overall facet of what makes him, and in fairness to, I don't know, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, some others, maybe the best receiver in the game.
I would say this unpredictable and unconventional method of which he runs his routes. He has uncanny ability to release off the line in a variety of ways.
Wow.
I think if you, and it's not like he created this version of running routes or the body movements. I mean, Stephon Diggs was kind of doing a version of this, and Thielen was doing a version of this. Like, these wide receiver releases and the way that they run routes and set up routes in sort of this chaotic manner is not necessarily what they used to teach. I mean, there's a lot of arm movements. There's a lot of body jiggle and wiggle to his route running.
Okay.
That it makes it really hard for a defender when he does it all at silky smooth, quick speed, and he makes every single release down the field look the same with the same tempo and the same speed. You don't know which way he's going to go. He might break in, he might break out, he might run that deep over. The way, just the nuance of his body mechanics are unlike anybody else in the league.
And it's beautiful you said that, because when Keenan McCardell joined 9 to Noon yesterday at 11:20, right near the end of the interview, I'm like, Addison. I mean, Jordan was quality stock last year, but the gifted, they take off years 2 or 3. The good will get better, but Jordan's gifted a different way. So I think there are big expectations for him, but with the nuance of it, that's what he said. Now, not as detailed as you. It was all line of scrimmage related and different way. In fact, he said different ways to get off the line.
Yeah.
So that's what he and maybe what we should be looking for from Jordan Addison this year.
Yeah, it definitely is an art form. I mean, when you watch high-end wide receivers in the NFL really perfect their craft at the line of scrimmage, it is a work of art, because it seems like nowadays in the modern NFL, they are allowing themselves to lose ground a little bit off the line of scrimmage. I mean, when I was playing, it wasn't really taught that way. You don't want to have negative steps and give ground and whatever. But when you can do it with the quickness and efficiency that they can with their ballerina-like footwork, it's they're losing ground, but they're also gaining separation at the same time. And so we used to think oh man, you got if you see a guy in press, boy, you better man up and you better get your arm swipe, you better get the hand knocked down, you better create some separation going in a positive direction down the field. Well, nowadays it's it's addition by subtraction, when you could take a half a step back, ballerina step, and then you gain that separation without even gaining a yard. And then you can go around that guy, and you can do it still on time in the offense. It is super impressive, and that's why I think you're seeing a lot more of the NFL style receivers have that short area quickness. They're looking for foot speed, hand quickness, and this ability to basically go backwards, put their foot in the ground, and get to top speed pretty quick.
Why do you think they brought back Dalton Reisner? I mean, it was, I saw your tweet, and you're right. I mean, it was the bargain of all bargains.
Yeah.
You had to wait for it, saying wait for him to crack, that's a little strong, but they always wanted him back. He always wanted to be back. And it was a very, very fair deal specifically for the team. But why? Why do you think they brought him back?
Competition. I mean, I think he earned the right to be a starter on this offensive line. But I think for the price and for the price that they gave Blake Brandel, you're just creating healthy competition.
Yeah.
And I really don't think, and I'm probably speaking out of turn here because I don't really know, but I think Ed Ingram had a really good season last year. I mean, I don't remember maybe more than once or twice you're like, oh, dang, he got beat pretty bad on that play. Like he held his own, and he's gotten better each and every game. So I'm not saying there's an open competition at right guard, but I think competition just makes everybody better. So look, if there's sort of a three-way competition for three guys for those two spots, I think that's great. So
KOC was quick to mention Fandini, who they brought in via free agency, Dan Fandini. So he's like part of the mix too.
And he's part of the mix too. So why? So now he's played a little bit of center too, I think.
Yep.
And so why wouldn't you have four guys competing for three spots to make everybody better? And it's cold, it's callous, but that's why the NFL works so well is because nothing's guaranteed. And if you're any one of those guys in the interior offensive line and you think that your name is inked into the starting lineup, you better start thinking differently.
If speaking of cold and callous, that can be a situation in all sports where teams steal plays. And it happens, they copy plays. Like the Vikings ran a Jordan Addison wide receiver pass against the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. Can't remember if it worked or not. But the next level Shanny kept that in his back pocket until the third quarter of the Super Bowl, ran the exact same play with Jawan Jennings throwing it, and they scored a touchdown on it. So stuff like that happens all the time. If the Vikings pilfered some plays from the Niners and C.J. Ham played some of the Kyle Juszczyk role, do you think he could handle it? He's not as fast.
Yeah, I as much as I love CJ, I think they're slightly just two different players. Yeah. As much as I think that we are impressed by CJ's athleticism, given his body style and his body type. Juszczyk is just built different. He's longer, he's leaner,
more angular.
He's more angular, has a little bit more agility.
Yep.
But that doesn't take away from, what a stud athlete CJ is. He gets the ball in his hand. He is a former running back, so you see that even with the big body, you see the footwork, you see the vision, and you see this ability to have the power to break through tackles. Yep. Juszczyk he's just built a little different, and he can do different things.
And lastly, because I don't know for Double B, Brett Blakemore, but I know for David Sinekin, how much the adoration and or respect or love he or they had for Aaron Jones. Now he's wearing these colors, and so I think Double B might want to close his ears for a second. I had no idea, and I saw him. So I didn't see much of him, those sneaky OTAs, the non-media OTAs, just to have conversations, kind of see some different things. Well, I didn't pay close attention to him at one of them. And then the next one, I'm like, damn. And then yesterday it happened again. And 2 days ago it happened again, where I had no idea how fast he was. And I've called his games, a bunch of his games, and I've watched him a bunch of times. But when you got the shoulder pads and the pads and everything, it's like, yeah, he's good, he's shifty, he's fast. When you don't have the armor and you're just running straight, warming up or whatever, or making a hard cut, and then you take off, but you run it out like they do, in practices. I had no idea how fast Aaron Jones was. Did you?
Well, I think I've always respected his speed. But I guess since I didn't see exactly what you saw, maybe I wasn't really, really wowed by his speed. I will say this. When you watch his running style, the way he runs, sort of close to the ground, it does. Now, again, their body types are different. He's a little bit on the thinner side compared to a Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
A lot of people, I think a lot of teams, until you've played Dalvin a couple times, you don't realize how fast he is.
Yeah.
Because he does not have a super smooth running style. And his feet are always so close to the ground. He almost pitter patters. And you're like, is he really gaining as much ground as you think he is? And he gets in the open field and nobody can catch this guy.
Yeah.
And he's pulling away from people.
That indie game on the comeback.
Yeah. And I feel a little bit of the same way with Aaron Jones and he's a phenomenal, I think, between the tackles runner. It's just that when he finally breaks out, you're like, oh damn.
Yeah.
He's really scooting along there.
Right. I guess I hadn't noticed that before.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Have a good show today, 3 to 4:30, Channel 5, Twin Cities Live. We'll see you soon, all right?
Good to see you.
You too. Ben Leber, at Nacho Leber, 9 to noon, returns after this.
If you want to chime into what's happening with your favorite KFAN shows, you can make your voice heard on the Brad Sean Bryant KFAN text line. Just let us know what you have to say by texting that message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard text message and data rates apply.
Sorry about that. Here's the deal. I was a little late to return, and we have two options here, and you're able to you could take A or B.
Okay.
It's your choice. At age 58, when you go to the bathroom, it takes a little longer than it used to take. And sometimes, like I'm in a stall and I feel like Secretariat's right next to me, and I'm like, damn, man, good for you. So you have one of two things that can happen. I can either return on time, and you can catch a glimpse of the Aleutian Islands or Key West on the front of my jeans, or we can wait an extra 45 seconds, and we return in one piece, and we're copacetic that way. Geezers in the house go crazy. They know what I'm talking about. Which is your choice?
If we have this glass wall between us, I'd be okay with the on time.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna hug me after, then I'm gonna go with the I'll wait the 45 seconds.
I know, but you've been told more than once. Maybe it's Max, but I think it's you, but maybe it's Max. To keep your head up when I walk back to the studio, because if you're pondering a vacation to Key West, I've been known to be inspiration. Out of nowhere. So, thus, a couple of seconds late, I think we're all good. And by listening to the music right now, feels like you want to do NDN's what we call it, but we can call it BNB, which would be
a place you stay on vacation rentals.
Right.
Yeah.
Booze with Blakemore or headline, I don't know. We got like sports essentials coming up here momentarily, courtesy of Canterbury Park and CanterburyPark.com, where the people come to play. Canterbury Park, where it's summer every day. Yes, the horses sing. And we race tonight at 5 o'clock. So we have our first Thursday racing day of the 2024 season. And they're racing at Canterbury Park tonight, 5 o'clock. Got 8 of them for you. The Steam team would be 3 of us, yours truly, Kevin Gorg and Angela Herman, and we deliver the steam. So if you get there, right in front of the races, you have bountiful options to find hopefully winning selections race after race. Yours truly, KG and Angela. We deliver the steam, and we are the steam team. Jay Litza has selections at StarTribune.com. The Litz is the handicapper for the Star Tribune. He's one of my better friends. Extremely good at what he does. So those picks are available. Dave Handelin, Super Stats Dave, the right-hand man for Alan Horton. He's a statistician for Wolves home games. We have that tip sheet, Dave's Faves. That's $2 you've ever spent in your life. Plus our super special grid about 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes before a race with multiple selections. So if you don't want to do the work, we do it for you. And that's why it's Canterbury Park, where the people come to play. Canterbury Park, where our picks pay every day. Horses sing. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. What are we going to do here?
We'll start with the Twins. They're playing the Yankees again today.
Oh, you want to do NDN?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
I've got a little bit prepared.
Yep, got it.
In fact, I'll even do this.
Number 1.
We've had I'm just going to lay it out. I mean, because things are going well for Nordo and Molly, his wife. But we've had 3 producers 9 to noon for this reason. Nordo and his wife Molly are expecting their 3rd child. And it was anticipated that it would be somewhere early next week or something like that. So Nordo's here, and we're doing our thing and stuff like that, and then gets a text, and bam! I mean, there he goes. I mean, it's like, this is KFAN breaking news and breaking water all the time.
I always love that one.
Breaking news and breaking water as it matters. This is AM 1130 KFAN, Minneapolis, St. Paul, BAM, or FM 100.3. So Nordo left, and baby, I think, is about to pop. So may God bless him and Molly and their family, and have everything work nice and beautifully and safely. So then Maxwell came in. Of course, he did for the Finchy 2 segments because he's enamored with Finch. We got Finch to do a hootie hoo, which was cool. So but then Max had an obligation, and here comes Double B. So Double B produces the final 2 hours, 9 to noon. So, man, we got a good team around here. Really, really good team with what you guys do and stuff like that. It's just been a treat watching you guys grow and like navigate through your profession and stuff like that. So, thus, we've had 3 producers today. And at the end of the show, about 35 minutes from now, Chris Finch was nice enough to give us probably a good 45 minutes of conversation. We did the marathon, as we call it, the business, then took the shorty and made it a half marathon. And so that's a lot of conversation. Max was nice enough to condense it to 25 minutes, I believe. And so we'll play that back coming up about 40 minutes from now so I can get over to Vikings minicamp. And Double B will be on the controls, and he also leads News du Nord.
I will say we have about a minute to the straddle, but I'll give you the one here.
No, we're good, man.
We're good?
One.
No. When you go through 3 producers and you got Finchy for an extra 10 minutes, a day after a one-on-one with JJ, we're good. You can miss the straddle.
Perfect. Hey, the Twins are playing the Yankees again today, trying to avoid the sweep. Stop me if you've heard that one before. The Yankees are just dominating the Twins. Pablo Lopez, hopefully, will be the guy to do that. But the return of Royce Lewis has been a bright spot. 3 dingers, 3 games. Your thoughts on the Twins at Yankee Stadium?
Well, it was 3-0 in a hurry yesterday.
Yes.
Okay. And you know what? With no due respect given, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the subject until, and I'm not, and believe me, I mean, I live my life to the best of my ability to be a thy, not I guy. You know, try just for whatever goes into thy, not I, whether you're a Christian or whether you're just thinking of others before yourselves. But I'm going to go I, not thy for a second here, and I'm going to speak for a lot of people. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this baseball team until I can watch the games. So, oh, wow. Well, you know, I don't care. I'm 58 years old, and for all of my life, I've been able to either hand turn on a TV or use a remote and turn on a TV and find my team playing baseball. Whether it's the Baltimore Orioles or then it was the California Angels with Nolan Ryan and Doug DeCinces and Reggie Jackson and Fred Lynn and Brian Downing, or it was the Dodgers. I always like the Angels more than the Dodgers. Then it was like the Oakland A's or the San Francisco Giants when I called races in Northern California. But I mean, I'm sorry to be I, not thy here. It's so freaking stupid that we can't turn on our TVs and watch a freaking Twins game. I mean, it's so bureaucratic and just, I don't know what it is, man. It's probably the wrong word, but I got nothing to say. I have nothing to say about it. I'm not going to follow it as closely as I otherwise would. And maybe that's petulant. Maybe it's childish because there are those out there who want to hear cogent Twins conversation. And you know what? When you think of cogent Twins conversation, the first place you think of is 9 to noon. Okay. So you have places to find what you're looking for. Until we can watch the games in normal fashion, this is not one.
Number 2.
Remember when Goodell talked to Pat McAfee about extending the regular season and not doing away with the preseason? Well, it seems like the idea is not as popular as you would think.
Yeah.
Because the NFLPA's, not UPA, the players, the representative from the Colts, Ryan Kelly, said, quote, 18 games sounds great when Roger's saying it on Pat McAfee. Yeah. But until you're the one that's going out there and putting the helmet on for those 18 games, then come talk to me.
Yeah, right. I agree with them. And you know, there's something that will, like preseason will go down to 2 games or something like that. I think the whole thing's convoluted, man, because owners of NFL teams print money. Okay, now I'm not cash envy guy, where whomever had the capital or put together the capital to buy a team. So that's them. That's their lot in life. It ain't mine. It ain't yours. It ain't, other people's too. So therefore, they had the capital to do that, and good for them. However, they make money during the regular season, but like in the preseason, that's a major scoop for the owners of NFL teams with like ticket revenue and stuff like that. So, the players are going to want to minimize preseason games and to keep regular season games where they are now at 17. An extra regular season game getting you up to 18 will take us down to 2 preseason games. Eventually, it's going to be 1. I think they're going to get to a 20-game season eventually with no preseason games and a bunch of joint practices.
That'd be the best.
Well, joint practices are better to get you ready for the season than preseason games. They just are. That's why, like, we had 2 last year. I think Green Bay had 2 last year. So that's where I think it's going. And you just can't. You can't preach safety as loudly as you do out of one side of your mouth, and then out of the other side you want to add games. It just doesn't add up. But News do Nord added up, and we thank you very much for executing that. Let's. By the way, the NBA Finals are tonight. The Boston Celtics host Game 1. They are a 2-1 favorite, minus 230 to beat the Dallas Mavericks and secure Larry O'Brien immortality. When 9 to noon continues, we will put a focus on the Stanley Cup Final between Florida and Edmonton with beloved Mick Tocchet joining us 9 to noon on FM 100.3 KFAN.